Hello everyone, today we're going over 20 frugal hacks to pay off your debt faster. Number one would be writing down any expenses. I call this like pre-budgeting because I know a lot of people get overwhelmed with the budget at first. Like, I don't know what to put for this category or that category. You're just writing it down, getting it down flat. For me personally, it makes me do an eye-opening as to, wow, I really spend too much money on this or that. Item number two would be a 24 to 48 hour ban on Amazon or wherever your shopping places of choice. I've been playing for days with the Shein cart, and then I finally realized you're just bored. You don't need any of this crap. I also recently just started a separate email for shopping, and to go along with that would be tip number, I have it down as number 8, but we're going to move it up to tip number 4, creating a separate email account for your shopping. I know me, when I see the sale, my eyes start going and I go, oh, look, it's on, let's see what's on sale. If you weren't looking before you saw a sale, you probably don't need it. You can also, to help you with the unsubscribing, I use Unroll Me. I'm slowly, since I just followed the tip of creating that separate email, unenrolling myself from everything in my regular email. And this way I figure when there's a separate email, when I do want to go shopping, I can look through my emails and see what came recently and where are places that are having sales. And then this one goes for food shopping. It's shop your discount grocery / Aldi first. We personally have a grocery outlet near us, which is really nice because I can actually go online and see what's on sale and see if there's anything I need before I even go shopping. So if there's nothing I need, I don't need to be there. That said, there are some items there that are just always there, like protein bars, this and that, and most of the time I can find one that meets my nutritional needs and I don't need to have a specific brand. Next would be using your library, and then oh my goodness, sorry. Downloading their app for digital content. My library uses Hoopla, some use Libby. If you're lucky enough and you live in an area where you can do both, or honestly, if you're seeing this and you know a library that lets you have an online card, let me know, because I'd love to have Libby on top of Hoopla to get a little more content. The other item is for those of you who are prone to impulse spending, either cash or setting up an e-debit or e-credit card and having individual credit cards for each little expense that you know when you're done, you're over it, and then you load more at the end of each month. There is usually some fee involved with that. If I find one, I'll make a short, but I'm trying to find like an e-credit card type item that's free. Tip number 7, if you are going to have drinks, which I cannot get my husband off of having iced tea and energy drinks, try to go for the powders versus the actual cans. It's usually a lot cheaper. That said, sometimes I've been lucky and I have found the cans dirt cheap at the discount grocery store. Tip number 9 would be to have a high yield savings account for your emergency fund. It just keeps it separate, keeps you from spending it. You can also do this and have a separate one, or even if it's going to be short term, a separate savings account for any goal you're at, so you don't accidentally spend that money, or you don't think about it. On that account, let's add a bonus tip. Once you're out of debt, or just to meet your match in the meantime, automatically put into your 401k, 403b, or have a direct link to a separate Roth IRA account. If you're not doing automatically, it's hard to manually go in and do that. You can also do that with your high yield account from your separate main checking account. Tip number 10, which we do all the time, is one subscription at a time. Like, personally, at some point, I'll probably get bored of Hulu and I'll switch over to Netflix for a while, vice versa. You don't need them all, there's plenty. And quite honestly, if you can really do great, and let's say you have to have Amazon Prime, which that's my thing of choice, only have Prime TV. Tip number 11 would be to help you avoid your door dashing and last minute fast food runs is keep some frozen meals on hand for easy food when you just don't get to it. I'm thinking of like the skillet meals. Personally, my favorite is the Aldi red bag chicken. I mean, if you have to roll, it makes it difficult, but red bag chicken, Chick-fil-A sauce, even the generic one, or I do it myself and make a mix just because I like to be a little bit healthier. And my husband's personal favorite is the stuffed shells in the freezer meal. They come together really quick. Keep some pasta sauce. You're done. If you want to add some meat, some frozen meatballs, bam. The other one is, which I'm trying to get into, a capsule wardrobe. It just helps you keep things simplified. You don't need as much stuff as you're buying. Think about buying just neutral colors so that it goes with everything and you don't have to have 20 different items in your closet. That said, I wouldn't go purposely buying to create one. Also, you want to try to create a simple look. Like, if I'm not a makeup person, I think it's a waste of money. On top of that, no one cares. I'm married, I'm going to work, and my husband's not a makeup person, so it makes it pretty easy for me. But try to keep to a simplified look. You don't need 20 billion different eyeshadow palettes, 20 lipsticks. Maybe if you need a summer and a fall because you're more tan. I'm pale all year round. But try to keep it simple and to keep to a simplified look so you're not buying 20 things. Tip number 13 is a broker for insurance. If you're interested in one, my husband is a broker for the state of Pennsylvania and I believe New Jersey. But ideally, you want to be shopping for insurance. At least we personally do it annually. You want to make sure you're getting the best rate. There are no rewards for loyalty. It's just the way the market is. But the idea of having a broker is like my husband for his clients does do that annual shopping for them. So it's one less thing you have to do. Tip number 14, removing your credit card info from stores and Google Pay. If you have to physically get up and do it, you're less likely to want to do it. And it's just one more step to keep you from shopping on impulse. And I do have a whole video on this. Going green using reusable products is my tip number 15. An example, all of a sudden I see the needs are, the new influencer thing is to push these disposable face cloths. I understand the whole bacteria thing, but what's wrong with having a bunch of washcloths and using a new one each day? 17 would be weekly grocery shopping. It just prevents that impulse buy. Honestly, that is a lot of pre-planning, and for me, it was a lot of learning to improvise when you do forget things, because otherwise I was making that last-minute run. It also, personally, I found it easier to stick with this when I lived in an area where the store wasn't as close. Either way, once you get in the habit, it really does get easier. You learn to plan, and you learn to use what you have when you do forget something, or let's say something goes bad. Also, really just eliminating the browsing trips because you're bored. Go for a walk. Do an exercise video at home. Find something to do where you're not out just because you're bored. Heck, even start crafting anything. Or for me personally, I'm making these videos that no one watches. Number 18, do it yourself. And I'm talking about this from everything. Like, personally, my hair's a mess right now, but here we'll I'm in the foot boot. Personally, today is a high pain day, so my hair just ain't happening, but I do cut my own hair. I cut my daughter's hair. My husband at this point is going bald and does the buzz cut, but men's hair I'm not so comfortable with, but YouTube, there's a lot of these ponytail haircuts. They're not that hard. At the very least, if you can supplement in between every couple months, great. I'm not trying to, and don't bash me with hairdressers. We all got to find a way to save money here and there. The other option is, if you don't feel comfortable with that, is to look into beauty schools near you. And personally, I'm taking a break from dyeing hair because I feel like it's a waste of money, and my hair isn't that gray yet. Just take some grace. If at some point I decide, and you have to live with your standards and what you feel comfortable with, if I decide it's too gray and I go back and do it myself, not a big deal either. But think about what you're doing and how much that you really need to pay a professional versus doing it yourself. And I'm talking from eyebrows, nails. You think of it, what are you paying for that you really don't need to pay for? The other one is one-time use tools. This one you have to look like renting versus Facebook Marketplace, then reselling it, or asking a friend if you can borrow theirs. For example, my friend Sarah is actually great at this. She wanted to plant some grass seed. She saw we had a grass seed spreader. She borrowed it, brought it back. I've also borrowed from her cake decorating supplies and stuff like that. If you're only going to use it for a little bit of time, you probably don't need to buy it. If you find you're using it all the time, you can always buy it later. This also works with hobbies that you're trying, so you're not buying everything at once. That said, guilty as charged. I've done that. We have a sewing machine up in our attic that we insisted we were going to learn how to sew and never happened, but hindsight, next time I'm going to try to borrow first. Tip number 20 would be to try a no-buy month. I noticed, because I'm sitting at home bored with pain, that I've been looking at a lot of stuff, and I'm like, you know what? You can make October a no-buy. I had one birthday present I had to get. The rest of it I'm not buying. That said, and set yourself rules that are realistic. I do have some things that we actually need in my Amazon cart sitting right now in case they go on sale for Prime Day, but unless it's a necessity, we're on a no-buy for nonsensical things. I also recommend looking through your closets, cleaning it out, seeing what you have a lot of or what you tend to buy excessively. And I personally on my phone have a no-buy list of items that I really truly don't need, to keep me from thinking a little more before I buy them. For example, for me, it's, which I stopped, is seasonal decor, holiday decorations. You really don't need them. I also have a little bit of an ornament obsession. Yeah, it's my guilty pleasure. Workout gear I have way too much of. We're talking like 7 pairs of shoes. Excessive amounts of leggings. Look, think about it. Do you really need it? And quite honestly, for me, like, I try to follow the one replacement, but I found I really don't. I have too much of stuff. When I get down to a certain number, then I'm going to rebuy. Oh, and tip number 21, our bonus tip that I almost forgot. Think about what you're doing with your friends. I mean, the go-to tends to be to go out to eat, but can you do something else that's more affordable? For example, go for a walk, have a friend over, make food. I tended to be into going to these workout classes where it really wasn't meeting my budget needs, so we've been doing workout videos at home together. If you don't have enough equipment for both of you, resistance bands are pretty cheap and we get you there. Or do a body weight. You can be more creative on your own. I do know someone who created a walking group in her town that's actually been pretty successful. At some point, when I'm done with foot surgery and I have more schedule, I would like to try one for the Upper Bucks County area. That's all. Thanks for listening. If you liked this, please like and share. Anyways, if you made it to the end, thanks for watching.